Good evening and welcome to the News Hour at 9. I'm Madhavdas Gopalakrishnan. Now today, the Gandhis suffered another hammer blow. Just a day after featuring in the party's star campaigner list for Uttar Pradesh, RPN Singh today joined the BJP. This is the second big exit from Congress in UP in the last 7 months after Jitin Prasada. Remember, the first phase of UP elections is just 16 days away. But the exodus of stalwarts and leaders who are considered to be in the inner circle of the Gandhi siblings is nothing new. From Captain to Scindia to Jitin Prasada to Aditi Singh to Sushmita Dev, the list goes on. All of them were subjected to humiliation and were sidelined. In a fiery parting shot, he declared that giving his sweat and blood for the party for the past 32 years, the Congress is not what it used to be. Listen in.
As in my statement to the press, I said, this is the party I worked for 32 years. It's not the party which I worked for. It is not the same thought process of this party, and that is why I have left this party and I have joined a party which thinks about nation building, which thinks about delivery of schemes, and which has proven on the ground that poor people, whatever problems they have, be it of food, be it of housing, be it of electricity, be it of toilets, they have delivered and shown. We have seen on the ground in the last 5 years in Uttar Pradesh.
But the Congress's foot soldiers are in complete denial. They say that those who switch to the opposite ideologies are nothing but cowards. BJP, of course, are riding high on the entry of a strongman from eastern UP's region. Listening to the war of words that erupted.
The kind of fight that the Indian National Congress is putting up all across the country, and particularly in a state like Uttar Pradesh, is a battle against the government's resources. You have to fight it with courage. You have to fight it with a lot of dedication. I don't think this is meant for the coward. And like Priyanka ji has said, you need to be on your toes. You need to be full of courage. You cannot be a coward and fight this battle.
अच्छा हुआ आरपीएन जी भी चले गए, लगातार पार्टी को नुकसान पहुंचा रहे थे, और सिर्फ उत्तर प्रदेश में नुकसान नहीं पहुंचा रहे थे, झारखंड के वो प्रभारी थे और झारखंड में भी वो कांग्रेस को नुकसान पहुंचा रहे थे। तो उन्होंने बड़ी कृपा की कि वो भारतीय जनता पार्टी में चले गए। नुकसान पहुंचाने की ये प्रवृत्ति उनकी कायम रहे और वहां भी वो अपना काम करते रहे।
ये इलेक्शंस दा टाइम जेड़ा है, ਇਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਬਹੁਤ ਸਾਰੇ ਲੋਕ ਆਂਦੇ ਨੇ ਚਲੇ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਨੇ। ਇਹ ਕੋਈ ਨਵੀਂ ਚੀਜ਼ ਤੇ ਹੋਈ ਨਹੀਂ। ਹਰ ਪਾਰਟੀ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਵੇਖ ਰਹੇ ਹੋ, ਕੋਈ ਆ ਰਿਹਾ, ਕੋਈ ਜਾ ਰਿਹਾ, ਕੋਈ आ ਰਿਹਾ, कोई जा रहा है।
जहाँ तक सवाल है कांग्रेस पार्टी का, जो पार्टी कभी मुल्क की पार्टी थी, आज मोहल्ले की महंगी होती जा रही है। उसका एक ही कारण है कि कांग्रेस पार्टी की जो नकारात्मकता, निगेटिव पॉलिटिक्स, और निगेटिव पॉलिटिक्स का नतीजा ये हुआ है कि आज इस मुल्क की पार्टी को मोहल्ले की पार्टी बना दिया है। इस ग्रैंड ओल्ड पार्टी जो है वो ब्रांड न्यू परिवार का घोंसला और पप्पू का चोचले में सिमट कर और सिकुड़ के रहती जा रही है, और इसीलिए आप देख रहे हैं कि आज क्या हश्र होता जा रहा है।
Now, the exodus gives out a loud message, a vote of no confidence in Sonia, Rahul and Priyanka, three members of the Gandhi family who directly or indirectly run the party. Now, under Sonia Gandhi, the group of 23 of dissenters was formed. The G23 have questioned the lack of leadership and a full-time chief of the party. Exodus of Generation Next politicians from the grand old party is a sign of underconfidence in Rahul Gandhi. Barring Sachin Pilot, most of Team Rahul, or the inner circle as it was called earlier, has now dumped the party. And as of now, Priyanka Gandhi spearheads the UP campaign, and she too is under scrutiny with at least 4 MLAs leaving the party since 2017. Priyanka was appointed General Secretary in 2019 and has failed to deliver in the Lok Sabha polls. So that brings me to the legitimate question on News Hour tonight. Is this a vote of no confidence in the Gandhis?
You're watching the News Hour at 9. Debate number 1 on Times Now. Super Prime Time.
Let's take this across to our guest joining us. Nupur Sharma is the national spokesperson of the BJP. Dr. Anand Ranganathan is with us, author. Also joining us on the broadcast is Roshni Kushal Jaiswal, spokesperson of the UP Congress. Kamruzaman Chaudhary is a leader of the Congress party. Ashutosh is a political analyst joining us on the broadcast as well. Let me begin with you first, Mr. Kamruzaman Chaudhary, and let me begin by asking you this, that at the end of the day, you're seeing a series of leaders. It is not one isolated episode of Mr. RPN Singh. We have seen prior to this, Mr. Jitin Prasada, Jyotiraditya Scindia, Sushmita Dev, many of those who were seen as a close coterie of Rahul Gandhi, and even those who have been veterans like Captain Anand Singh, all leaving. And all saying one thing, that they are extremely concerned about the leadership of the party and the direction in which it is headed. And this is something that G23 too has been saying from within the party. But of course, they were sidelined. There's a larger malaise and a larger question of the leadership of the Gandhis that comes into question over here.
Now, Madhavdas, every organization, be it yours or be it mine or be it my party or the BJP, has got a fair amount of attrition rate. You know, these are politicians. They are all, what they call this, career politicians, I must say, in short. These are people who need to be isolated either by the BJP or by the Congress. We have seen in the past, recent past, people have shifted their ideologies overnight. This same person, RPN Singh, was very critical of the BJP's policies, of their ideology just 3 to 4 days back. And now today he's shaking hands with those BJP, with those same ideologies. So you see where is the principle in the politics out here. That's why I call them career politicians. Now you have seen the vanishing Bipin Prasada. What happened to him is nowhere to be seen in the UP elections right now. He became an MLC and he is satisfied. Sushmita Dev, for example, she went to the TNC, became a Rajya Sabha MP. Here you can cite other examples also. There are hundreds of examples like this. So Congress, and I'm very proud of my leader tonight, Rahul Gandhi ji, when he said that those people who do not believe in the ideology of the Congress or who feel that there is something with the RSS due to any party which has got any sort of traction with the RSS.
No, Mr. Chaudhary, I will of course get a response from the BJP spokesperson, but simple question. By your logic, and Sanjay Jha is also joining us on the panel now, by your logic, everybody who has left the Congress party then is a career politician. In that list you would then have to include Mr. Chidambaram, who went with the Tamil Manila Congress, Mr. Pranab Mukherjee, Mr. Sharad Pawar, all those who have left the Congress at some point of time, including Mamta Banerjee, they are all career politicians. But look at them, at the end of the day, they have left the Congress for particular reasons. And in this particular case, and the kind of exodus that we are seeing today is qualitatively different from what has happened over the past several decades.
Now, how much dent they are going to provide to the Congress party, that is the more question out here. The point that I want to put out here, a RPN Singh leaving the party or a Bipin Prasada leaving the party, what will be the impact on the ground? These are the leaders who never promoted the young leadership from coming up in the Congress party in the first place. Now, when these people are moving out, the grassroots workers like me, who have been working in the grassroots for many years, decades in fact, we feel at least चलो भाई आगे का रास्ता तो साफ हो रहा है. अब हमारा उठने का समय आ रहा है. We don't need this elite politician. We don't need this politician.
Okay. Quick response. In fact, I want to bring in, I've seen hands going up over here. Before I bring in fact, Anand Ranganathan and Nupur Sharma, I want to ask Sanjay Jha what he has to say to this. Sanjay Jha, do you agree with what Kamru Zaman Chaudhary is saying? He says grassroots leaders like me will get a chance now, that these people who are not ideologically committed, now that they have left the party's fold.
Well, Madhav, in short, the truth is this is an election season. And as you are seeing, all political parties are experiencing this Ayaram, Gayaram syndrome. But the bottom line is that if anybody really expects, ideological fidelity in Indian politics, that is an oxymoron. That's a hard truth. We all have to live with it. But the challenge for the Congress is that, we are the challenger party. And I keep using the word we because I still feel that I'm part of the larger, kind of political party's ideology. Madhav, the Congress doesn't have the luxury that the BJP has of losing a few leaders, OBC leaders like Mr. Maurya in Uttar Pradesh or Mr. Rawat in Uttarakhand, or a whole host of leaders who have moved in Goa. But the fact of the matter is that today the Congress needs to be hungry. The Congress is the one that needs to be motivated to take on the BJP. And I believe that the role of the opposition is very fundamental in a democracy. And I think that's where the Congress is failing. Today, for example, if you go to the UK, you will find that the Labour behaves like a shadow government in waiting. The Trump is already trying to come back in 2024.
Right.
The Congress needs to demonstrate that same appetite for power. And the truth, Madhav, you're a seasoned journalist, power is the glue in Indian politics. If you're going to be out of power, trust me, it's going to be a Herculean challenge, because what do the existing politicians do if you don't keep them involved or engaged in responsibilities? And I think that is one of the biggest weaknesses the Congress is having today. And basically it's accentuated by one truth. And I'll be honest about that. Many leaders in the Congress speak to me and they tell me that
okay, fair point. Fair point. Let me take the question across to Nupur. Nupur, power is the glue that keeps politicians together. That's what Sanjay Jha is saying at some level or the other. Perhaps what he's alluding to is that Congress, being in opposition for this long, is finding it that much tougher to keep its camp and its flock together. Perhaps that's a disadvantage that the BJP does not have, having power not just in the state of Uttar Pradesh, but also here at the center. At the same time, comparing exoduses, saying that there are exoduses that are also taking place in the BJP. Your response to that?
Well, good evening, Madhav, to you panelists and also to your viewers. I just quote a number that I saw on another famous Hindi channel. In the past 7 years, from 519 exoduses
actually took place in party, and out of 519, roughly 36 left
Bharatiya Janata Party. Well, whatever may be the reason, there are 2-3 quick points I want to make. When the official spokesperson from Congress Party was speaking, I was reminded of something, there was a saying, if witches were horses, fools would be riding them. Just by way of an example, my contemporaries are nowhere. And I mean, when I started from student politics, which NSUI used to be around 15 years ago, people who were perhaps in the game 10 years before me are at my level in the Congress Party. And people who were there 5 years before me are nowhere to be seen. Not at least in the national politics of Congress Party. So I don't know how this leader from the Congress Party is saying that, now I'll get a chance, because I'll be very fair to you. The fact is that no young person or anybody with an iota of capability or potential has any space left in the Congress Party, because Congress is run as the private fiefdom or as a private limited company of a particular political family.
Okay, one second. Mr. Chaudhary, I'm coming to you, sir. There's enough time, please. The other panelists as well, please allow me to come in. Mr. Chaudhary, please allow her to make a point. I'm going to go across to others and then I will come right back to you. Please hold on. Just hold on to your thoughts. Nupur, complete your point quickly, please.
The fact is, in Congress Party, let's not forget Mr. Sanjay Jha, just because he chose to write an article, maybe giving some suggestions, maybe questioning what Congress was doing internally, he was thrown out. Or can you forget a national spokesperson or a woman spokesperson of the Congress Party? Just because she did some press conference in Mathura in Uttar Pradesh, how she was actually heckled. She was pushed around by goons belonging or supporting the Congress Party.
Okay.
She was also shown the door. Let's not even go to that level. Can we forget how the Congress...
Let me bring in...
Mr. Narasimha Rao, the Prime Minister who never had a Gandhi surname.
Right.
His dead body wasn't even allowed to enter the gates of the Congress headquarters.
Yes, I'm going to come across to Roshni now. Nupur, I think you've made an important point, but let me bring in Roshni Kushal Jaiswal, who's a spokesperson of the UP Congress. Now, Roshni Kushal Jaiswal, the question that is being raised over here is this, that, now reactions coming from the Congress Party are Mr. RPN Singh was damaging the party's prospects in Jharkhand. He was acting against the party's interest. Why do these questions come up as an afterthought? And if he was actually doing that, there is Mr. Amba Prasad, who's on record from the Congress saying that. Why was he made a star campaigner?
Actually, the thing is that RPN Singh is a coward. He's also focusing for...
So you made a coward the star campaigner?
No, just because the thing is, BJP is looking for all cowards. Congress की जो cowards हैं, BJP उन्हीं को focus कर रही है. कांग्रेस पार्टी ने RPN सिंह को विधायक बनाया,
तो मिस्टर पी चिदम्बरम, मिस्टर प्रणब मुखर्जी, मिस्टर शरद पवार, ये सब कावर्ड्स हैं जो कांग्रेस छोड़ के जाते हैं. सब कावर्ड्स हैं आपकी परिभाषा में. ममता बनर्जी, सारे कावर्ड्स हैं.
सांसद बनाने के बाद, केंद्रीय मंत्री बनाने के बाद, कैंपेनर बनाने के बाद और क्या बनाया जा सकता था RPN सिंह जी को? आप मुझे आंसर करो.
तो सर वो मैडम वो सारे लॉजिक, वो ये जो आपका लॉजिक है कि पार्टी छोड़ के गए तो कावर्ड है, ये लॉजिक तो सब पे लगाया जाता है. और पार्टी चलाना आपके नेताओं को जानना चाहिए. दे हैव टू नो हाउ टू कीप देयर फ्लॉक टुगेदर. दैट इज नॉट द जॉब ऑफ मीडिया और नॉट द जॉब ऑफ समबडी एल्स टू टेल यू. मैडम, लेट मी ब्रिंग इन Anand Ranganathan. Anand Ranganathan, does this logic make any sense? Does this logic make any sense? What else could he be given? Even if that is true, why is an individual then leaving the party fold?
Good evening to all my fellow esteemed panelists.
No, absolutely, it doesn't make any sense. But before I come to the thrust of my, I have to what
Mr. Chaudhary, because I think he should be more economical with his criticism, because who knows, he might be joining the BJP next week. If not, he might be starting his own party, Congress K. And the fact of the matter is, when he says that these people who leave, they are career politicians, well, Mr. Chaudhary, you would know the history of Congress. Congress has been split more times than uranium, 37 times, more than there are letters in the English alphabet. In fact, I keep reminding my good friend Sanjay Jha that I, who normally vote Nota, would vote for Sanjay if he were to form Congress Jha. But he refuses to do that, and he accepts being called suspended Congress for the last 2 years. But now let me come to this. Madhav, we have to accept what the Congress spokesperson and Mr. Sanjay Jha is saying, because the fact of the matter is that the only person in India who is never... We saw that recently, didn't we? In the run-up to the Bengal elections, where Netas were changing parties so fast. Votes from the TMC came to the BJP before the election, and votes from the BJP went back to the TMC after the election. Madhav, politics is the most successful public sector undertaking ever devised. This is because the players know and understand Darwinian nature and survival of the fittest. They are competing to survive. They are mutating to survive. Before RPN Singh, there was Mr. Maurya, who crossed over last week from BJP to SP. And before he crossed over to the BJP,
he was the BSP. But as I said, this is not new or unexpected. And that is why, for us common people, it is foolish to invest so much time and energy watching from the sideline what is essentially a roulette game. The players switch sides at will and no one loses in the long run. Ex-mother is a prefix found most frequently in a politician's CV. Ex-BJP, ex-Congress, ex-BSP, ex-AAP, ex-CPIM, ex-TM, pre-poll alliance, post-poll agreement, coalition dharma, caste arithmetic, regional agreement, local pact, villages league. These are all telltale genetic markers for the disease called politics. And count yourself lucky that you're not infected with it. But as I just 30 seconds. I hope the reason is political and not an impending ED or CBI raid. Because as you know, from Goa to Manipur, Bengal to Karnataka, every single politician when in trouble has dipped himself into this Behti Ganga that is the BJP. And miraculously,
that's a question, certainly.
So I just hope that Mr. RPN Singh was not at the receiving end of an impending CBI raid.
Okay, that's a question that I will put to Nupur, but I want to bring in Ashutosh now, because you've made a number of very important and pertinent points. And Ashutosh, there is a serious problem. And you're a political analyst, you have been an editor, sir. I want to ask you a simple question. This kind of exodus that's taking place currently in the Congress party, the way that leaders are leaving the party, it was captain a few weeks back. We have seen other senior leaders, all those who were, part of that coterie of Rahul Gandhi, all have one by one quit the party. They're moving across to the BJP. They're moving to other political parties like the TMC. Now, there appears to be a very serious issue here within the Congress party that G23 has articulated its views. How are you looking at this, Ashutosh? And really, at the end of the day, how does this reflect on the party's leadership? As one of the panelists said, they may have given a lot to Mr. RPN Singh, but if they were still not able to keep him within their fold, there is a serious question there, isn't it?
Madhav, since you referred me as a former editor, I should edit you. It's not exodus. It's basically defection. Because if this is election time and the people change their political parties, RPN Singh leaving Congress party is certainly a jolt to the Congress party, and Congress has to think about it, why the leaders are leaving them. But there is another side of the story. In the last 1 month, if you see, how many leaders have left Bharatiya Janata Party in UP? I can count. Swami Prasad Maurya, Dara Singh Chauhan, Dharam Singh Sani, Brajesh Prajapati, Bhagwati Sagar, Roshan Lal Verma, Radhakrishnan Sharma, Madhuri Verma, Rakesh Thakur. And if you go to Goa, there is another 3-4 MLAs who are left BJP, like including Michael Lobo. So this is the election time. That does not mean that the BJP has got weakened in Goa. That does not mean the BJP has got weakened in UP. That does not mean the Congress has got weakened because RPN Singh has left. RPN Singh was no big shake in UP politics. In 2019, he just got 13% votes. Somebody who has been a minister at the center is getting only 13%. That means he's no good in his own constituency.
No, I am granting that. In fact, the first debate that we had, this is the very first question that we asked of Nupur Sharma. But the question is this, that there is a pattern here of leaders all coming out out and saying that there is a problem in our decision-making process. All of them leaving, including those who are within the party, including G23, if they are raising questions of the manner in which decisions are being made in the Congress party, somewhere is there some truth in that problem or not? And are you seeing, look at the stature of the leaders. Mr. Captain Amrinder Singh is a former Chief Minister. Sushmita Dev has been a member of Parliament. Mr. Jyotiraditya Scindia has been a minister. RPN Singh has been a minister. Those important leaders who play roles in the central level of the party are the ones who are leaving. That's not something that we're seeing in the BJP. So I think there is a slight distinction here between what's happening in the two parties.
No, Gaurav, I said it in my opening remarks. It's the Congress has to introspect. Congress has to think about why their leaders are leaving. If somebody who has spent 32 years in the Congress party, leaving Congress party at this moment, Congress has to think about it. But besides this, if somebody is trying to paint that the RPN Singh was a great leader and he leaving will change the fortune of the Congress, will change the fortune of the BJP in Purvanchal, then what for Mr. Modi is there? What for Mr. Yogi Adityanath is there? What for Amit Shah is there? So this is the election time. People will leave a party and people will. Don't forget, till 2009, the BJP has got only 20% vote share in Indian politics. Only 20%. So you never know when the fortune is changing.
Let me bring in Nupur now. Nupur, there's nothing unusual. This happens. Congress has to introspect, but there's nothing unusual. This always happens during elections, says Mr. Ashutosh. Your response?
Well, I want to start by objecting to this lady from Congress party actually calling a Kurmi and OBC leader, Mr. RPN Singh, a coward, जिसको हिंदी में कायर कहते हैं. कल का इनका प्रभारी झारखंड का, जिससे सरकार बनवा दी आपकी कांग्रेस में, आज का और कल का आपका स्टार कैंपेनर, कल का आपका केंद्र मंत्री, गृह मंत्री नो लेस, आज का आपका कावड़ हो गया क्योंकि आपका दामन छोड़ के गया. At the same time, you know, Mr. Ashutosh, it's a bit rich and funny. Madhav, I did not speak over the lady. Let me make an important pertinent point and then she can scream as much as she wants, please. Now, Mr. Ashutosh, RPN Singh कोई नेता है? 3 बारी MLA बन गए, 1 बारी सांसद बन गए, MOS होम भी बन गए, कैबिनेट मिनिस्टर से, यूनियन मिनिस्टर से कोई इतनी बड़ी बात थोड़ी ना होती है. लेकिन इतना बड़ा लीडर थोड़ा जितना राहुल गांधी है, 2 बार MP बने, ऐसी कौन सी बात है? And you know, I'll tell you, कावड़ तो सिर्फ RPN सिंह जी है. कावड़ राहुल गांधी नहीं अमेठी छोड़ के वायनाड भाग गए. कावड़ पी चिदम्बरम भी नहीं है. डर के मारे, अरेस्ट के डर के मारे अपने बाथरूम में जाके अपना लॉक करके छुप गए अपने टॉयलेट के अंदर. बाकी सब कावड़ है. Reality is, history speaks volumes about how Congress party has treated its non-Gandhi Nehru family members. Let's not forget, they tried to pull the dhoti of a Sitaram Kesri because we dared to take on, Salman Khurshid's Mother India. Let's not forget what happened to Jitendra Prasad just because he dared to actually challenge Sonia Gandhi by contesting the election. I've personally spoken to Mr. Jitendra Prasad and I'm telling you something he told me. I don't know what happened to my father within 6 months of losing that ill-fated election. That's the reality. If you can ill-treat your own members, point in case, Shehzad Poonawala, I forgot that example. Just because he dared to take on the Congress party and Rahul Gandhi, he was thrown out. And look, he's my colleague in the party today. So, Mr. Chaudhary, good luck to you. I wish you a very good, well-meaning ghoda in life so that you can also ride it. Reality is, Congress doesn't care about any non-Gandhi Nehru family member.
I'm going to give an opportunity to Roshni Kushal Jaiswal. Roshni, you know, there's a direct question that is being posed by Nupur Sharma. The question is this, that there are problems with all of these leaders. Mr. Ashutosh, who is very critical of the BJP himself, says that the Congress needs to introspect. Mr. Sanjay Jha also feels the same. Somewhere or the other, the question that will arise is that since all of these leaders, or many of the names that I mentioned, are those who are considered close to Mr. Rahul Gandhi, should Mr. Rahul Gandhi also introspect as to what is going on? Or is he not at all to blame, or is he not at all to take any kind of responsibility for what's happening within the party? Roshni.
Rahul Gandhi is responsible for what is happening in the Congress party. Just because he's the... But the thing is, I'm 27-year-old. I'm the youth icon of Congress. I am doing spokesmanship in Congress right now. I'm the youth Congress spokesperson right now. So Congress is giving opportunities to the people, to the newest peoples. Nupur Sharma was saying that Congress is not giving the opportunities.
Then why are people leaving, madam? Then why are people leaving? Why are all those close to Mr. Rahul Gandhi leaving?
Just because of their selfishness, they are leaving the party.
So they are all selfish. All those who have won from the party so often, those are leaders who are leaving. Let me quickly bring in Anand.
Priyanka Gandhi said,
Dr. Anand Ranganathan, what does this also mean for Priyanka Gandhi, who has been campaigning in the state? She's the leader, the face of Uttar Pradesh, as she herself has said, and then, of course, withdrew her statement very quickly. Also, very, very clear reflection on Priyanka Gandhi and her leadership of the Congress in Uttar Pradesh.
I don't think it makes much of a difference because for Congress
the only way is up. But I think it is a bit disingenuous for the Congress UP spokesperson to repeatedly call Mr. RPN Singh a coward because he's left Congress. Because by that account, by that logic, 37 people who left Congress, including Sharad Pawar, Bharat Ratna, Pranab Mukherjee, Chidambaram, were they all cowards?
They all are cowards. I'm saying it again and again.
They are all cowards. Pranab Mukherjee was a coward. Chidambaram is a coward.
All right. I think we've gone down that road. Make your point, Dr. Anand Ranganathan.
कठिन समय चल रहा है तो उस परिवार को छोड़ के जाना कायरता ही कहलाती है. ठीक है, तो आप
राजा जी भी छोड़ के गए थे, मैडम. There are tall leaders who have left the Congress, madam. People are free to do what they want to do. That doesn't mean you can call anybody a coward. I think, madam, you have made your point, your viewpoint very clear. Let's get in some other points of view as well. Dr. Ranganathan.
Very quick. Yeah, I didn't want to harp on this issue, but I just wanted to make a point because one of the reasons, Madhav, and I'm saying this almost like a confession, that I respect my good friend Ashutosh, is that he quit AAP and he did not join any other political party. So he is not a dal badlu. In fact, I can disclose here that he has told me that he was offered by CPIM to join, but he said, "मेरी आप में ज़मानत ज़ब्त हो गई, तुम लोगों को join करूँगा तो मैं खुद ही जाऊँगा." But as far as him saying that RPN Singh बहुत बड़ी चीज नहीं है, हार चुके हैं, by that logic, आशुतोष, राहुल गांधी भी तो अमेठी से हार चुके हैं. तो अगर वो कल कांग्रेस छोड़ के चले जाए तो वो भी बहुत बड़ी चीज नहीं होगी कांग्रेस के लिए.
Ashutosh, direct question for you from Dr. Ranganathan. Please respond.
Anand Ranganathan is a funny creature. He loves to crack jokes. I love his jokes. So don't take him very seriously in this episode. See, since Anand has raked up my leaving Aam Aadmi Party, I must tell him on the national channel. It's not one political party, but two national political parties wanted me to join and contest. Let me confess this. I am not a dal badlu. I was not there to do politics. I was under the impression that I'm going to change politics. When I realized I'm going to be changed, so I changed. I left politics. So
no, but didn't you hear?
It's easy. It's easy.
I said I respect you for that. You heard me properly.
I heard you. So I'm also saying in the lighter vein. See, let's understand this. I think this defection politics has to stop. If Indian politics has to be cleansed with corruption and defection, this has to stop. If anybody has been elected on a certain party symbol, he should continue for 5 years till the assembly is dissolved. If he's leaving, he should be debarred from contesting for another 6 years. It's something like that. Tomorrow, Rabada suddenly decides to play for India. And then Virat Kohli decides to play for South Africa. What havoc will it create? So it is something which is very...
I must come in. Madhav, 10 seconds.
Okay, Dr. Ranganathan.
It is the same, my dear friend Ashutosh, who said that there is nothing wrong with Shiv Sena, NCP and Congress joining together, despite of the fact that the mandate was for Shiv Sena and BJP to form the government. Same Ashutosh said there is nothing wrong. This happens, post-poll alliance happens in politics. Now he's saying that it should not happen.
Okay.
Stop. That's what I'm saying. I'm reiterating. This defection, this post-poll alliance has to stop in this country if the politics of this country has to be cleansed from corrupt politics and corrupt policies.
Do we need a stronger anti-defection law? That's an important question. But I want to come back to the issue at hand over here. And the issue over here, Nupur Sharma, I want to ask you a simple question is this, that there are those who have also commented post this development that if Mr. RPN Singh is an important leader, if he is going to change the prospects of the BJP in Uttar Pradesh, as the BJP believes, then why not give him a ticket? Why not make him contest?
Well, Madhav, that's really not mandated upon me to actually give any comment on this. I'm sure once, the CEC has, they had meetings today, the core committee had meetings today, and the parliamentary board as well. I'm sure they will come up with the tickets, and it's completely upon the members of these three committees to decide who gets a ticket to contest from where. Having said that, I mean, the Congress spokesperson today has really exposed, Hindi mein kahun to, mansik diwaliyapan of actually calling senior people from their own organization as cowards, rather than actually ensuring that they don't leave. It completely reminds me how Sachin Pilot, also a gifted leader in the Congress party, and along with his supporting MLAs, was slapped with sedition charges by Ashok Gehlot, no less. Can you forget that? And if that's how you treat your own people, allow me to please finish. If you can treat your own, अरे मैडम सारी गरीब आदमी हैं, सारी आइकन है आप, यूथ आइकन है आप, मुझे छोड़ दीजिए, मुझे मेरा पॉइंट.
Okay. No arguments, please. All right. Let's not have a shouting match. Yeah,
please tell her. Can I please complete my point?
Yeah. Okay. Quickly make your point. Nupur.
Madhav, this is something that the Congress needs to answer for. If you ill-treat your own people, if you threaten to jail them, and if this is how you actually, let's not forget what the biggest loss of Congress party, Himanta Biswa Sarma. Can you forget how he treated, how he was ill-treated by Rahul Gandhi? So if this is your leadership, then आपको मुबारक हो, आपका अंदरूनी मामला है, आप इंट्रोस्पेक्ट कीजिए, आप आइकन से अपने आप में, आपको बहुत शुभकामनाएं मेरी ओर से. लेकिन राजनीति ऐसे नहीं.
I want to bring in Sanjay Jha. Sanjay Jha, you've heard what the UP Congress spokesperson has had to say. You've heard what Mr. Ashutosh has had to say. There is on one hand, there is a refusal to raise the role or bring in the role that the G23 and as you have in the past raised of the decision-making process within the party. Ashutosh says this is normal during elections, is happening in the BJP. Can it really be compared? Is there a larger malaise, a larger problem within the Congress party?
Well, let me tell you, Madhav, the fundamental problem with the Congress party is there has been a communication breakdown with the top leadership. Now, some people have access, they will tell you, no, everything is a hunky-dory. These are only people who are critical. But that's not true. The reason why G23 has been very upset and disillusioned is because they don't get a platform to express the way forward. I don't agree with my good friend in the UP Congress. I think people leaving the party is a message to us that there is a serious fault line. I don't agree with my friend Ashutosh either when he says that RPN Singh lost and this guy got walked out. The truth is, whether it's a Milind Devra or a Jyotiraditya Scindia who lost their election to the Lok Sabha, had less to do with them and more to do with the perception of the Congress going wrong in 2014. That's why we won only 44 and 52 seats in 2014 and 19. And therefore, it's wrong to just blame an individual for being an underperformer in a Lok Sabha election. I don't think that's true. So I think the truth of the matter, Madhav, is very simple. That when you are a challenger party to the ruling party like the BJP, you got to get your house in order. And I do agree that the Congress is failing, not just itself, but it's failing the 12 crore voters who voted for us. We still got 20% vote share. And I do repeat it again. Being the opposition party of focus, the Congress has a big responsibility on its head. It should behave like a government in waiting, like a shadow government. And it is a big, tough task job.
Absolutely. Kamruzaman Chaudhary, I think those are some very, very pertinent points that Sanjay Jha is raising. Unfortunately, when he raises this noise of these issues and others within his party also do the same, unfortunately, the responses that come in are what is being said, for instance, by Roshni Kushal Jaiswal and others, saying that this is completely wrong, that people have been given everything and they're still walking out of the party. If there is constructive criticism coming in for the party, why is it so difficult to accept this and implement changes?
No, Madhav, when you get to know the events within the Congress party, it's at the back end of the dispute. When there is no resolution in sight, Congress party has got a very, very well-crafted dispute, resolution mechanism within the party. There are steps and layers. All those who are within the Congress party may well know that it's not that one man who is agreeing with the policies of the party or is not happy or not in sync with the decision of the party high command or let's say the state leadership. He has got a forum to complain. He has got a, if he doesn't come to terms with those decisions, then he is well free to leave.
Okay.
Now the point here is that, Mother, just 10 more seconds because I waited patiently. The basic point out here, we are against a very tough enemy that is hell-bent on ruining the idea of India.
Okay.
In that battle, if a person loses his way and goes astray, then it's his personal character that is coming in question. not the party in question. The party's ideology remains intact and is intact, in fact, till today.
Well, you're entitled entirely to your opinion, sir, but many would question, why is this happening repeatedly? Why is the same thing playing out again and again within the Congress party? It seems to be deja vu once again, but I'm going to leave it there for the moment. I'd like to thank all our panelists for joining us. Sanjay Jha, as well as, I believe, Dr. Anand Ranganathan, I beg your pardon, and Kamru Zaman Chaudhary stay with us for the next debate as well. Thanks to all our other panelists.